Good evening, my name's Rob Pollard. This is a quick video to show off Ancient Armies' new communications layer called Hermes. I've programmed a program called a Telematics application, which is going to be using the communications layer. And what Telematics does, it enables you basically to look at the data in the game as it's happening in real time. And the tele part of Matics means that I can look at the game variables from anywhere on a network machine. Now, for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to run everything from the same machine, otherwise it's going to be very difficult to video all the applications involved. But the principles are effectively the same. So first thing to do, I'll run up the new app. So this is the Telematics app, which we'll use to snoop on the various bits of bobs that are happening in the game. It starts off in a disconnected state, but we'll get it listening right now. So there we go. It's now listening on networks. Let's run up Ancient Armies itself. Now let's load a test scenario 1. As it mentions there, best played in a line of sight, so we can see what's going on. So that's now loaded. Now to use telematics to record what's going on inside the game, what I need to do is hit the telematics button. Normally that wouldn't be visible. Normally you'd have to go to game options and onto the telematics tab to enable it and pick the server. I'm not going to do that now because that tab will show you a list of all the computers on my network, and I don't really want to expose that on the internet. So I'll cancel that. It's already configured, so all we need to do is hit this button and it should connect. There you are, connected. Straight away, the telematics app's detected the scenario name, the sides that are involved, and the map. I can also add the graphs that, or the variables that I actually want to monitor. So I guess the big question before we start is why put the effort into writing a telematics app? Well, the big issue is Ancient Armies is complex. It's a simulation. Each unit has a multitude of variables which all change over time to model how that unit's performing. And as a player, you only get to see a very small fraction of those variables because a lot of the bits and bobs that are happening are purely there for behind the scenes. Things like fatigue and cohesion and so forth. However, as a developer, I need to see those variables so I can tell if the modeling's working. Now, normally you'd run up your code editor and have a look at the individual values, but because of the nature of this simulation, I really need to see these values over time and how they're working over time. And that way I can determine whether things are working as expected, hence why I designed the telematics app. But it's more than that. I also spent a lot of time designing the communication subsystem called Hermes. Hermes is incredibly powerful. It allows me to use multiple protocols, whether it be TCP or pipes or UDP, and it presents it to be in a very simple to use way, which means it can be very easily incorporated into any project. And in fact will probably be incorporated further into Ancient Armies for multiplayer facilities. So anyway, let's choose what we want to monitor. So all you do is add graphs. Now, in fact, let's widen this out a bit. This allows you effectively to pick a unit. It knows what units are on there because they've been sent across over the network, even though this is actually on the same machine. What we'll do, we'll monitor 4 units. So we'll monitor phalangite 1. And we're going to look at their cohesion levels, and we'll also do look at their fatigue levels. There are a whole host of variables that the app sends across. We'll look at phalangite 2 as well. Cohesion, fatigue, and we'll look at 2 of the enemy cavalry units. Let's go for cavalry 1. Again, we're going to look at cohesion, fatigue, and cavalry 2, and again we're going to be monitoring cohesion and fatigue. So that's all set up effectively. The telematics is ready to go. What I need to do now is get the game running. So what we'll do, we'll set some orders up. So we got, whoops, we're quite zoomed in there. So that's Unit 2, we'll get him to do, I don't know, let's make him do a fast wheel, but only a small one. The guy in the forest, that's number 1, we'll get him to charge out, and in the forest that's really going to impact him. I'll be surprised if he gets anywhere. We also decided to look at cavalry 1 and 2, which, that's 3, that's 4. Where's number 2? I guess he's up here somewhere. Let's see about. There he is. So that's number 1. We'll make him charge forward. Let's put him into the wood line. And then number 2, we'll get him to do a very small fast wheel. So there you go. We've issued orders to our units. So what we need to do is kick off a turn, and we should see the internal data for the application zipping across. Now, as I said before, normally you'd run these 2 applications on different computers, and then that way I could play the game on one computer and watch what's happening in the game on another computer. Right, let's run the game up. There we go. As you see, the telematics data is already coming across in real time. We're going to keep an eye and see what's happening on those units. So from a developer's perspective, this is incredibly handy. It enables me to keep track of whether the modelling that I've designed in the system, whether it's working as intended or not. And that's very important because you get some subtle bugs otherwise. And this kind of data is very difficult to read when you're in game running a debugger, especially seeing the curves over time. So it's a very, very handy functionality. And of course, this whole subsystem can have many other uses, not just limited to debugging. So we're nearly done. The turns there 30 seconds, as you can tell up here. That will be finished pretty soon. So there you go. We've run one 30-second turn here, and we've captured all this data here. Now, it doesn't just capture the data for these particular units, it captures data for everyone, and it captures all of their data. So it gives me the ability to basically choose after the fact what I actually want to look at. For instance, we might want to look at, say, cavalry 4, for instance. We might want to look at, say, his cohesion. He hasn't moved, so I doubt that's changed. He has a nice straight line. And you could choose to look at any variables whenever you want. Like I could look at his cohesion multiplier. Again, that's an internal variable that you wouldn't normally see. I say, because cavalry 4 didn't move, his variables would be quite flat. But having the ability to analyze this data, as I say, from a developer's perspective, it's gold, because I can see if there are any bugs. Now, yellow or yellowy orange, that's fatigue, and blue's cohesion. So you can see cavalry 2 cohesion went down a bit and kind of recovered a little bit at the bottom there, and fatigue went up a little bit. And in fact, all of these you can see fatigue going up, and there it's flattened off. And in fact, one of the issues this is already found for me is I've noticed that in many of the situations, fatigue goes up, i.e. the unit gets tired out, but it doesn't seem to recover. You never see it going down, and that's a bug. Now, without this monitor application, it would be almost impossible to detect that bug, and what I'd have instead is lots of little weird side effects happening in the game and no idea why it's happening. But thanks to this real-time output, I can actually see what's going on, and it means that when the game is further developed, and I want to test out the battle systems, the morale systems, everything else, I can view it all on here in real time on a different machine, and that will enable me to determine that whether or not things are working as I expected or not. So very, very powerful diagnostic system. But on top of that, it provides the communications there, Hermes, which I mentioned, and Hermes isn't coded to be Ancient Armies specific. It's a general communications there, and I can use it for anything. And most likely, at least in the Ancient Armies, it will be used for both multiplayer and for producing a real-time battle monitor, so that people can view what's really happening in the battle as opposed to what the players are seeing on a third monitor. So that's it for this demonstration. Thank you for watching. Bye.